Hi there, welcome to Subpar Stitches. My name is Hillary and this is my Flosstube channel. So it has been 3 weeks since my last update, and really the reason I was supposed to film last week, and then the day I was gonna film was the day that that guy drove his car into the synagogue, and that's like not far from where I was working, and it just put me in kind of a funk for the whole day. I didn't feel like filming, so I pushed it a week. So yeah, hopefully everybody can deal with that, like, cause it's been bad vibes all around in Michigan for a little bit, and just it didn't feel good to come home and force a smile. So I'm back to my bi-weekly schedule after this, hopefully, fingers crossed. Not that anybody's like waiting with bated breath. They're not like, where's Subpar Stitches? Where'd she go? They're not doing that. But I still have this weird self-imposed schedule that makes me anxious. So I feel like I have to apologize for missing a week. So like I said, it's been 3 weeks. I have quite a few finishes to share with you that feel pretty good. And I've got some whips. I've cycled into some new whips since the last time you guys saw me. And if you follow me on Instagram, you've seen all these finishes already, but you're going to look at them again. So let's hop right in. I'm going to skip shout outs because I don't have any again. I've been watching just a lot of the same Flosstubers. I'm still trying to catch up. I'm literally still watching end of year whip parades. That's how bad I've been about watching Flosstube, but also how many Flosstube videos are on my Flosstube playlist to get through. So I did just watch Spicy Selena Crafts whip parade, and I enjoyed that. So that's like the last Flosstube video I watched, which was like yesterday, and you know, she put that out in like January. So it's March, come on. So let's go to the FFOs. These are fully finished objects, and I have one FFO. Well, I don't have it. I finished it because it was a gift. So I did remember to take pictures. I should scoot over so there's space for like editing me to put the photo in. So this is semi self-drafted. I used a alphabet from Lord Libidin, but I don't think they have names. He just has like, on his website, he has a whole page just filled with alphabets of different sizes and different typefaces that are free to use. And this is just, I just called it Patience is a Virtue because that's what it says. I stitched this on a 28 count coffee dyed even weave that I dyed myself. And I used the Bestitch Me silk called Velociraptor. So I started this on my granddad's birthday for my sister. And this is something, Patience is a Virtue is something he would say constantly ever since we were kids. Like, he said this so much that every single person who spoke at his memorial, including myself, mentioned it. Like, that's how known he was for this phrase. It's been almost a year since he passed away, so I just thought I would start it on his birthday, kind of in memory of him, and I would gift it to my sister because it was her first major loss of someone, and it's very lucky to have reached the age of 30 and not lost anybody. But it's also kind of harder in a way, I think, because I lost so many people growing up, just really in quick succession and over a long span of time as well. Like, it was just like everybody I loved died. And so it was really hard, but I also learned from a young age how to cope. And so it's like when the first major loss is when you're 30, that sucks. Like, you're just kind of like thrown into the deep end. And so I wanted to make this piece for her because I thought it would be meaningful. So I dyed this fabric with coffee from Big B Coffee because that was his favorite place to go get coffee. He would always order a large black coffee extra hot, and I'm like, Granddad, they're not doing anything extra to it. Like, it's the same hotness no matter what. They're not heating it more, but it meant something to him. So I was like, I gotta dye the fabric with that coffee, just as a little extra piece of him there. And then I chose a blue Bestitch Me silk, but this one, it had some gray in it, but I pulled all the pieces that were mainly blue after I cut it because it was variegated so that it would be predominantly blue. So there's really no gray in this piece because I guess for me, I really associate the color blue with my granddad because he always wore those button-down matching pajama sets where it's like the button-down shirt and then like the cotton pants. And I actually, when he passed, one of the things that I asked for was the blue pair of cotton pajamas. So I have those in my closet. But I just always associated that with him because when I was a kid, you know, often on weekends I would go and spend the night at my grandparents' house, and every Saturday we'd watch Cops. And then we would watch America's Most Wanted. I'm like 8 years old, by the way, watching these shows with my grandparents. And he would be sitting there in his flannel pajamas. And every time America's Most Wanted ended, he'd say, "Go get 'em, John," to John Walsh. So just really fond memories. I'm going to make one of these for myself at some point, but I'm going to dye the fabric with tea because he and I had a little tea party several months together before he passed away. And I had told him Earl Grey was my favorite tea, and he was like, that was my mother's favorite tea. And he bought me a box of 100 sachets of Lipton, I think it's Lipton Earl Grey tea. And my granddad never spent money on anything. Like, he was very frugal. He lived on a pension, like, didn't have a lot. But he specifically bought me like the 100 sachet box of this tea. And so I want to kind of commemorate that as well. So, I don't know. I ended up buying this frame off of Amazon, and it looks really nice. And when I gave it to my sister, it was so funny because I showed my husband Rob. I was like, I made this for my sister. I think she's going to like it. But if she doesn't, it's okay, whatever. And he goes, no, that looks really nice. I bet she puts it on her desk at work. And I was like, yeah, right. Like, no, she's not. The first thing she said when I gave it to her, she was like, I'm putting this on my desk at work. And I was like, apparently Rob knows my sister better than I do. But that was my FFO, and it's very simple. It was only like 500-ish stitches, but for me it was very meaningful just because of all the memories and emotion and, you know, dyeing the fabric with his favorite coffee kind of thing. It was nice. I liked it, and I thought it looked really clean. You know, it looked good. So that was the only FFO. So now let's move on to FOs, or finished objects, and I have 3. So the first one I finished it, and then I didn't even cut off the last string piece of floss from where I finished it. This is the Rolodex Morning Sampler, and that's like morning, like sad. I guess holding it that close doesn't really do it any justice. Oh my god. Please focus. There we go. This is Rolodex Morning Sampler by Bendy Stitchy. 28 count sand even weave by Picture This Plus, and it uses Gentle Arts, Classic Colorworks, DMC, and I believe it uses one color in cotton, but I just used the DMC sub for that. Last time I told you guys, I was like, I have confidence that I need a board. Just put it on the back of this project bag. I was like, I have confidence that I can finish this in the next week, but I doubt I can, but my hubris is telling me that I can. And I did, somehow. I managed to power through. This is actually 1/1 stitching. So many leaves. And it just says, no grave can hold my body down. I'll crawl home to her, which is a Hosier lyric. I listened to this song today, actually. I actually finished this one day earlier than I had planned to because I assign all these like arbitrary due dates to myself. And so I had wanted to finish this by that Friday. Finished it on Thursday. This was the last 1/1 project I had in my rotation, so I need to find a new 1/1 project to start, but it's just so itty bitty. And the reason I did this 1/1 was because I wanted to do it on this fabric, but the cut that I had wasn't going to be big enough. And also I'm glad that I ended up doing this 1/1 because it's got a lot of fancy floss in there, and doing 2/2 on 28 count is crazy. It's a floss eater. It's very expensive, but I just love the way the weeping willow looks. You can see like this, like, it's kind of hard to see from far away, but that fencing kind of design down here. The leaves look really cool. I just love it. I don't know what I want to do with it. I just really liked the design. My next finish was a long time coming. This is one of my few projects left from 2024. This was a SAL that was started in 2024. Started the SAL on time, did not obviously finish the SAL on time. This is the Slumber Party SAL from Sewing Starfish. Oh my gosh, it's so big. This was done on 18 count black Aida by Zweigart, and I used all the called for, which was DMC. I gotta tell you, this Aida sucks. I used the same Aida, I'm pretty sure, that I used for the Wizard Inventory sale from Sewing Starfish as well. And I learned the first time that the 18 count black Aida from Zweigart shreds your thread. Like, I was getting fuzzies everywhere from the thread. It just wasn't great. And still, I bought it again for this one. But it's just like this, the frame is like a house, really big house here. You got the moon up here, some balloons, and a little chimney. And then just like all these fun, cute little like slumber party themed motifs. This cup of tea here, originally it's brown, but they give you some alternative colors to chart it in, and I prefer green tea overall typically. So I used the green charting. Really like the nail polish because I'm a nail polish girly. I really hated stitching this TV. I don't know why. What else? Oh, the face mask is so creepy. And then on the little container, there's a mini version of that face mask. I thought that was a great detail that I didn't notice until I was actually stitching it. I really liked stitching the CD. I love the little journal because I used to be really big into journaling, and then once COVID happened, I just stopped journaling entirely, and I'm still trying to get back into that. What else? Love the pizza, love the popcorn, love pizza and popcorn. I think the cake is cute, but it had so many colors in it. It was such a pain to stitch. And then I was stitching these and I was like, what are they? And then finally, once I finished them, I was like, oh, they're pillows. It took me like until I finished it to realize they were pillows. But overall, very cute. So sick of the color pink. So tired. I love the color pink, but I was just like, I think it was just a combination of, it was a lot of like samey colors, and then the Aida itself was just a hassle to use. So very glad it's done. Eventually want to turn this into like an oversized project bag would be kind of cool, because this is quite large, even on 18 count. I don't know why I didn't realize it was this big, but glad it's out of the whip rotation. I'm trying to kill all my 2024 projects by the end of this year if I can. And then my last finish, actually, I started this on my honeymoon last year. Don't ask me why I picked this. I was doing a start a week, so, I brought that start. But this is Arranging Pasta by Ink Circles. I dyed the fabric myself. It's a 36 count linen. I called it the perfect red because I just love a red. And it uses all classic Colorworks. This was one of 2 pasta-themed whips that I have going. I finished one, so now I've just got to finish, what is it, like Spaghetti Western or something like that, I think it's called. But I really like the way this looks, but oh my gosh. It used, where is it? It used a whole skein of Queen Bee because a majority of the noodles are outlined in this. Don't look at the back of my head, it's a mess. So I did a lot of the outline first, and then I do like the colors in it, but it was just a lot of the same color. And I guess because I was working on this and that like fully pink whip, it was just like a lot of like projects where all the colors were like the same over and over and over again. So I was just like getting kind of tired. And then I got half a stitch off somewhere in this like center circle area. So everything to the right is like half a stitch off somewhere. But because it's only half a stitch, you can't tell, and I wasn't gonna care about it. But I really love the fork at the bottom with the like spaghetti noodle coming up to fill up that space. I think that's really cute. I love the arrangement series from Ink Circles. I prefer these to the mandalas that they do just because it's like most of them are just like a mirror image, so you only have to stitch the same thing twice rather than those mandalas, which are quite big, I think, and you got to do it 4 times. And then I like when she puts like the text down here. So like for the coffee, tea, and cocoa one, they have like all 3 have different fonts, but they're like incorporating the colors from the piece. I really like that. So probably could have done some better placement on this and had some more fabric left, but I didn't. So I'm usually really like frugal with the fabric to my detriment, but I don't know if I want to do like a flat type finish. I don't think I need a framed noodle piece, do I? Maybe I do. What if I made like a shitty little macaroni glue frame with like beads and stuff on it? Okay, maybe I do need a framed pasta piece. Like, you know when you were in like kindergarten and you made like macaroni art frames for your parents? Okay. I think we got our answer. So those were all of my FOs. So that was 1 medium and 2 smalls finished. I finished quite a bit this year so far. I'm pretty happy with that. I keep like doing a lot of this and I just don't know why. I didn't have any new starts. I've been good about new starts this year so far, but I probably will be having some because I did just kit up a bunch of stuff for no reason from Stash, so it's fine. It's not like I'm like out buying a bunch of stuff that's not going to get started, but I find that it's easier to have it all ready to go. So let's hop into WIPs or works in progress. And you guys know what I'm going to show you first. It's my current large project that I'm working on. Oh my goodness, there's a hanging needle and thread in the back. I have been working, oh, the needle got embedded into something else. Let's fix that. So I've been working on the Epic Generation 1. I lost my notes. The Epic Generation 1 Pokemon project from Lord Libidin. I'm stitching it on 18 count white Ada by Kato using all DMC. It's like 105 colors. It's crazy. But I have officially crossed the 100,000 stitch mark. And this project is 115,200 stitches. That number's burned, etched, forever just dented into my brain because it's all I can think about. I'm at this phase now where I'm color completing. I think I showed it to you last time from the color completing section, but I'm just color completing now. That's what I'm doing. And I've finished all of the biggest colors. So everything is less than 1,000 stitches per color. I've been swapping back and forth between really big colors and colors that have like next to nothing so that I'm not left with a bunch of like tiny like 10, 15, 20 stitch colors at the end because that I know that would piss me off. But here is where we're at. This is all that is left. I am struggling to comprehend how close I am to being done. I'm working, so I finished all of this light blue. This is 147 or 157? 157. So that is like the background color. And I actually even managed to finish this corner without taking the hoop out. It was hard, but I did it. This like darker blue up here. You can see like some of these pops of colors are ones that had like 10, 15 stitches. I'm currently working on this color right here. It's 165, that kind of greeny brown. I have proof. It's right there. It's hanging out. My goal is 2,000 stitches a week, but I have enough stitches banked that if I want to like take a little bit of, take less in a week, I can. And this week was one of those weeks. I came home, let's see, on Sunday, I did like 900 stitches. I had to move some stuff around for a plan later this week. So I had to start on Sunday, did like 900 stitches. got like 500 or 600 stitches on Monday. And then on Tuesday, I think it was, I came home. I did 36 stitches. And then I was like, I'm done. I'm done. I'm going to go into my office and kit up like 20 projects that I'm not going to start. So that's what I did. But I'm still on track to finish by the end of April, which is crazy. I can't believe it. I feel kind of uncomfortable with that fact, but just like, look, I'm so close. It's like I'm so close, yet I'm so far away. I don't know how to feel, but it's not coming out of that hoop until it's done. So that was my large project that I'm working on. The medium project I'm working on is called Beloved, and it is by running with needle and scissors. I'm doing this on a 32 count even weave by Bestitch Me, and it didn't have a name. I bought it from, I think, a fight night, and it was just, I had a number, it was 207. I have pretty much used up all of this. I love this color. I love a gray fabric. And I'm doing this all in DMC. It does call for 4 anchor flosses. I just converted them to DMC because I'm not buying 4 anchor flosses. I'm not an anchor girly. I don't care about anchor. And I'm only doing the center because I didn't care about the rest of it. Even when I bought the pattern, that was my intention. It wasn't like a cop-out later. I just really, I saw it from across the room at StitchCon 2 years ago, stitched, like the whole thing, and the center was what really drew me in, and I was like, oh yeah, I have free will. I can just do the center. So that's what I'm doing. And let me tell you, kids, this is not a good work project. Oh, did I say this was my medium project? This is my small project. This is my small project, and here's all the flosses that, oh my god. This is my small project, and here's all the flosses that are used in it. Like, it's a lot. It's very well shaded. It's what Phoebe Moon calls like a painterly style. And here is where I've gotten to. So, oh my god, it is stunning. Okay, I made a huge tiny mistake. So you can see I finished the whole bird. Looks beautiful, looks wonderful. There's a second bird down here. And then I came over and I did this leaf, and I realized that these leaves are wrong. So you can see, like, this leaf is all green. This one has like dark in it. Here's the thing. It should be illegal to have 2 symbols look so freaking similar on a pattern. They're both squares, and okay, so let me show you. So DMC 3371 is this like black square right here, and then the actual color that is supposed to be in the leaf is this smaller square right here, 833. So I need to rip out the dark from these leaves and replace it with this, which won't take me that long, but there's really not that much, but it's just annoying. And so I'm going to do that this weekend so that I'm all caught up. But the reason why I didn't realize it is, so the symbols on this pattern are colored, and they don't, I just, my brain didn't work. I don't know. I hate when symbols are colorful. Like, it just, because the symbols are so small, it just kind of makes it hard to read. It's just like an extra thing for my brain to have to comprehend, and I hate it. So, but I learned my lesson. Yeah, this is not like an easy one at work. This is one that definitely would be easier in a stand where I could spread out all my colors, because I feel like I'm doing, you know, a small handful of stitches and then going back. And then because I count my stitches, you know, I mark them off with the highlighter. I got to count them up. It's just gonna be so beautiful though. I really, really like the way this looks. And here's the thing too. I was like, I just saw this yesterday. So this piece, it's got the birds, and then above it has like 2 or 3 alphabets, and then it has this border around it, and it's all charted. And on the chart information that, like, the charter, the person selling this, you know, They said, I chose not to stitch the outer border as I like the aesthetics without the outer border better, but it is charted, so you have the option to stitch it. And I'm like, my friend, you charted the pattern. Why did you put the outer border if you didn't like it? Like, I don't know. Maybe it's a reproduction, but even still, I just thought that was really funny to be like, yeah, I charted this, but I didn't like it, so I didn't stitch it. Oh my god. I'm getting warm. But yeah, I'm going to power through. I was hoping to finish this by the end of this week, or by the end of next week, but that's certainly not happening because there's a whole nother bird, and then there's like a couple of really big flowers, and then I think there's like a couple leaves too. And it's a lot of colors, as you guys saw. Like, this is all the colors. A lot of colors. And so I'm actually focusing more on just taking my time with this one, enjoying the process, trying not to get a headache from looking at those symbols, because let me tell you, it fries my brain. But I am hoping to find some kind of like wooden circular frame for this when I'm done and display it like that. I think it will be just so pretty. But just it's making me want to do more in this style, and this is not typically my style, but who is it, like Auversois or something like that? They have a lot of like painterly style stuff, but a lot of it is kind of more religious. I don't know if I would do many from them, but they have kind of a lot in this style where it almost looks embroidered from far away because of how much like blending there is in the pattern, and I love it. So we're gonna stick that back in the bag and hopefully fix those weird leaves. You know what's so funny is as I was stitching those, I was like, this is a weird color choice, but I really like it. And then when I realized that the leaf on the other side, I was like, wait a minute, I used the wrong color. So I was like, let me put in the one leaf correctly and see which I like better. And then I'll just frog and fix the other one. And then I let it set for a day after I did it, and I was like, yeah, it looks better in the correct colors. So I gotta do that. And then the final project I've been working on for cross stitching is Candy by Whittier Stitches, and I'm doing this on the 28 count Sapphire Even Weave by Fiber on a Whim. This uses DMC, Krynic, and I believe Mill Hill beads. And this is the next medium project I'm working on. I actually started working on it yesterday because, like I said, I had to shift some stuff around to accommodate for some plans this Friday, which by the time you see this, it'll be Saturday, or later. I don't know. But yesterday I did come in and start putting in her hair, and I'm going to do a little bit more of her hair tonight. I was going to like fully work up and then kind of come out and work back down. I hate working upwards, but I did a center start. But then I ran out of both of the skin colors that are kind of like blended together in here, like right there. And so I had to find a different way to work up. And so I just kind of hopped off, and this is the top. So now I'm able to work back down in a way that is more comfortable for my brain. And I have like, don't ask me why I have like 3 needles on here. I don't even know. I just stick them to magnets. But I think I've got a little over 2,000 stitches into this. It's around 15,000 in total. So this is my current medium project, which I work on the weekends. This will get a little bit more work tonight, and then a couple days this weekend, and then it'll go away until next weekend. But this is another one of my 2024 projects that I need to knock out, especially because this is a beautiful fabric color, and I haven't cut it down because I was being lazy about it. So once I get it expanded all the way to this side, then I'll be able to cut the fabric, because I don't want to measure it. I love being lazy. Okay, so now we're on to other crafts, and I had to run out and grab my other craft, and I was like, why do I feel like I'm just melting right now? My husband has the heat at 72. Okay, buddy. But I've still been working on the Japanese video game scarf by Katarina Kuntz, and I've gotten quite a good amount done. So this is where I was the last time on that marker. I finished the shrimp. I finished this like pyramid head type guy. There's a crown and a heart. This long peanut fellow. We got a gift. I love the ball of yarn. And then I'm working on this guy with devil horns, and he's got like a little dandelion by him. And this is double knit, so on the back side it's inverted. Looks really cool. Let's see, this is roughly the halfway mark of the scarf. So you can see I've got just, you can't see. So we're doubled over right here. And then I've got, I think I'm like 75% done, almost. I'm on page 7? I think I just started page 7. So there are 9 pages, and doing 7 rows a day, except, okay, the other day, sometimes I do some extra rows when I'm feeling it. So I bank them just in case, like, there's a day where I do 4 rows and I'm like, I just can't today. So I still am ahead. I just subtract the 3 rows from, the bank. Well, the other day, I was knitting in the morning before work, and I had the knitting needle. I set it on the couch next to me. I like sitting cross-legged in chairs. And as you can see, this is a size 0, a US 0 or a 2mm needle. And they are very fine point needles, very pointy. And I set it on the couch, and it rolled into the crack between the 2 cushions, and I didn't realize it. As I was adjusting to pull my foot up to sit cross-legged, and I like grabbed my leg and like pulled it, and I was like pulling my leg in naturally, and so with the force of that, it slammed into the bottom of my foot, the tender part of my foot, and like lodged in, and it hurt so bad. And I pulled it out, and my foot started bleeding. Now there's like a hole in my foot from it. And at that point, I was like, I'm done. I'm so done. And I used up a bunch of my banked rows because I was so mad at the knitting needle. And then later that night, I told my husband, I was like, yeah, Rob, I stabbed myself in the foot with one of my knitting needles. And he goes, why did you do that? As if it was like an intentional thing that I was just like, this will be fun. I was like, it wasn't on purpose, you dum-dum. But yeah, that's 3 weeks of progress right there. I could, if I wanted to, I could definitely do more in a day, but then I would have to sacrifice cross-stitching time, and then that would be a big no-no. So let's move my little rock fact stitch marker up so that I can see the progress that I make next time in 2 weeks. And I've mentioned this before, but this is a gift for my little brother. He's about to graduate from grad school, and also his birthday's coming up. So it's just like a 2-for-1. We'll gift it for both. Okay, so as far as plans go, on March 20th, which is the first day of spring, I plan to start the Sprouting Lupine Nature's Journey sale that everybody, I really wanted to start this last year, but I was already doing a start a week. So it was a little bit overwhelming. This was a quarterly sale that came out in Just Cross Stitch, and every quarter represents a different season, but it all makes like one big image, and it's like filled with bugs and flowers, and I love bugs and flowers. So I was like, I really want to do this. The first part is in the spring of 2025. Just Cross Stitch magazine, if you're interested. I ended up recharting it in Stitch Fiddle because there's so many colors. There's a lot of colors. I just felt like doing it digitally would be better. Tara from Wilda Woman Crafts does that. Like, she'll rechart her paper patterns so that she can use them digitally. And I was like, why didn't I think of that? And she's a genius for it. And I was like, I should have been doing this sooner. If I recharted it correctly, big ol' if, it's just over 500 stitches. It's just over 5,000 stitches for the spring portion. And I'm going to do this on, I was like, oh my God, this fabric doesn't look big enough. It's because it was folded. I'm going to do this on Cold Foam by Bestitch Me because I love this fabric. So a lot of color changes, a lot of itty bitty kind of motifs, but I'm excited. And my goal is to stitch on this a little bit each week through the end of spring so that by the time summer comes around, I can start the summer section, finish that by the end of summer, so on, so forth. But that's why I had to shift around all my plans, was so that on Friday, instead of stitching on Candy, I can stitch on the Nature's Journey sale and give that a good start. Okay, so now we're on to reading, watching, playing. That's all the stitching stuff and craft stuff. So if you're like, that's all I care about, now's your time to dip. But if you want to hear about all the garbage books I've been reading and all the shows I've been watching and all that, stay tuned. So let's start with reading. I listened to a couple of audiobooks. I listened to this one called The Good Neighbors by Kirsten Modglin. And brother, this book sucks. I just picked a random audiobook and the ratings weren't bad. I don't know why I trust Goodreads ratings. I don't know. But the twist was like kind of lame and the writing wasn't all that good. And at one point, this married couple, they were like celebrating their 6-month anniversary. I'm like, you guys are married. Like, what? What? Actually, today is my 1 year. If you're watching this when it comes out, it will have been my 1 year. Actually, no, tomorrow. The 22nd is my 1 year wedding anniversary with my husband, but like the second one because we got married twice in the month of March. Don't ask. But we've been together like 13 years. Never once have I celebrated a 6-month anniversary. But like this married couple, so they get married, they move into this house down south, and then they both like instantly start like either physically cheating or kind of like emotionally cheating in one other's case. And then the way it ended was just like really dumb, like wrapped it all up in a neat bow. It was just really strange. And I wouldn't recommend it, but then again, it was like a quick audiobook where I was like, oh, okay, like it kept my attention, but it was just like bad. It's like slop TV, you know? And then the second book that I had gotten audiobook for, because I just didn't want to read the next one of this. Like I want to finish the series. So it's I don't know what the series is called. It's like the Murder Squad series or something like that. It's by Tana French. And I read the first 3 like physical books. And I liked them, but I felt like they were like depreciating and interesting over time. And that's just how I am with series. Like I get like less invested in a series as it goes on for some reason. I loved the first one. It had me like enraptured. And these books are pretty thick. They're like murder mystery type, but like drama a little bit too. So the first one was great. The second one was like a really unusual twist for me. I really liked it. The third one, I was just kind of like, it was all right. You know, it was like, kept my attention, but then by the end, I was just like, I didn't really like that twist that much. This fourth one, it felt so dragged out. It wasn't like the worst thing I've ever read, but at the same time, I feel like this is like detective type novels. It just did this thing where the way they resolved it in the end was the lady gave her huge like plot exposition confession. And I was just like, thanks for telling me. Like, I don't know. It was just like show, don't tell. You know, it was like one of those. But there's 2 more in the series. I'm determined to finish it. Even if it's just like listening to the audiobook, it'll be fine. But highly recommend the first one. And like they all can stand alone. So it's like every book focuses on a character. Like, so the first book was about this guy. And then the second book was about his partner. And then the third book was about somebody else who was in the squad, and then the fourth book was about somebody else who's in the squad. Like it's, I don't know who the next 2 books are about, but it's like you're always, you know, the character going in after the first book. So that's kind of an interesting way to do it. And then as far as what I've been watching, Rob and I watched The Black Phone, which was something I'd wanted to watch since it came out and I just never did. I actually really liked it. A lot of times horror falls kind of flat for me because it's like either they're trying way too hard to be like really grotesque and in your face and it's like it's just not that scary, or they're trying like way too hard to be super artsy. Like there was this one movie that was going around YouTube for a while and they're like, this is the scariest horror film of all time, and I was like, am I too dumb to understand this? I can't even remember what it was called. It was so boring and it was really, really quiet. So I couldn't hear any of it. And so I just feel like a lot of it was lost on me. But The Black Phone, it was like a little bit supernatural kind of feeling. But overall, the creepiness was like based in reality. And it was just really well done. If you are interested in like a creepy dude kidnapping children, this might be the movie for you. And then I started watching The Pit, which I like saw a ton of advertisements for, and I was just like, okay, I need a new medical slop show. I love medical shows. And I blasted through everything that's out. Actually, tonight is Thursday, which means the new episode of season 2 is out, so I need to finish this up so I can go watch that. But here's the problem. I'm watching the whole first season, and I'm like, kind of liking this, but also, why is the main doctor wearing cargo pants? It was really taking me out of the experience. I was like, you're a doctor. Why are you wearing cargo pants? Maybe that's just me. Maybe that's just a me complaint, but I'm just like, the whole time I'm looking at him, I'm just like, what's with the cargo pants, bud? And then Rob came out and was like, what you watching? I was explaining to him, and I was like, yeah, that was like, there was a whole, like, full-on penis in the first season. Like, you could see it all. Like, I think it's an HBO show. That would make sense, because I'm pretty sure I'm watching it on HBO Max. But yeah, I told him that, and he was, like, quiet for a second, and he goes, was it at least a good penis? And I was like, no. What kind of a question is that? I was like, why is that your first concern? I was just like, because I don't know why I thought this was like a mainstream TV show. So that's why I was like really shocked that I'm like, we're seeing like full frontal nudity on both ends. It's not like sexy, it's like medical nudity, but it's still just like, whoa. And then I realized later, I was like, this must be actually just an HBO show, because I don't think they can show that. I haven't had cable since I was 17, so I don't know what's on cable anymore. But yeah, I do like the show. It's an interesting format because each season is just a single day. So each episode is like 1 hour of the emergency room staff. But one problem I did have was in season 1, there is like a mass shooting event that happens. And literally I got to those episodes the day that that guy attempted a mass shooting event in the synagogue near where I work. It's like 15 minutes away. It's not like right next door, but it was, you know, close enough, too close for comfort. And so I get home and I like watch that, and I just was like fully, just totally tilted from that. It just kind of ruined the rest of my day. I was like, I wish I hadn't watched these episodes today. But yeah, it's a really good show so far. That's all I've got. I'm going to go watch the next episode, I think. So yeah, I'm going to go stitch on candy, watch The Pit, and drink some juice, I think. That sounds good. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you in a couple of weeks. Bye. Oh, P.S. If anybody wants to start the Nature's Journey style with me, let me know. Okay, bye.